Welcome to POSTCAST. The Utah Jazz on a back end of a back-to-back face the fast-flying Western Conference leading Memphis Grizzlies. And they might have built their own grave, or they might have just got built. We'll discuss it coming up on POSTCAST. David Locke along with Ron Boone for you on POSTCAST tonight. The Utah Jazz live ball turnovers are the story tonight. The Jazz turned it over 21 times, which is a lot. The issue is that 16 of the 21 turnovers were open court opportunities for the Memphis Grizzlies tonight, a team that is 23rd in the NBA in half-court offense, playing without Ja Morant. So all you wanted to do to that team was to put them into the half court as much as possible and make them, and the Jazz did a great job when they put them in the half court, but those 16 live ball turnovers ended up leading to a majority of the 25 fast break points, and points off turnovers tonight was also a big advantage for the Grizzlies.
Well, what I'm talking about this, David, I don't know how many points did you give up off turnovers in that second quarter, because that was a quarter that the Grizzlies had that was so big for them in outscoring the Jazz 43-28. The Jazz won three of the four quarters in tonight's ball game. But as you mentioned, those turnovers are something coaches, if you talk to head coaches, they'll tell you that the biggest problem that they don't want to have in a game is turnovers and rebounds. If you can do that, you give yourself a chance to win. And obviously the Jazz, that didn't happen for them tonight. 21 turnovers, giving up 27 points. That you won't win a lot of ball games.
Give the Jazz some credit. The Grizzlies are the number 2 offensive rebounding team in the league at 32%. And nice to see you, dear. And you can say hello to Utah. You have lots of friends back home. They might watch the show. Brad Jones's wife, Lori. Brad, longtime Stars head coach and then Jazz assistant coach.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were on.
No, we're on. Wait, we're not professional. You're allowed to come by and say hi. She ran away. That's who I was waving to for those who are wondering on watching it on YouTube. Give the Jazz some credit. Memphis is a great offensive rebounding team, second best in the league at 32%. The Jazz, I think, only allowed about 25% offensive rebounding tonight. So, like, on one end of things, they did it well. That's like, okay, and that's probably what kept them in the game, because to the Jazz credit, they stayed close. They never got blown out. This was a game that felt like there was a real chance you're going to, when you and I were talking about keys before the game, one of the things you and I talked about was, like, stay in contact. Don't go fall 12 or 14 or 16 down, and they did that. They fell down by 14 at the half. They fell down by 16 early in the third. It felt like it could get away from them, but this team just doesn't let things get away from them.
Yeah, and that's a tribute to the players and the fact that and will, to the point where they just continue to play hard. And they know that the way they shoot the three-point shot, eventually, they're going to get those looks and get themselves back in the ballgame. Now, they only got up 32 tonight, and largely because of the turnovers. That many turnovers, you're just not going to I think the Jazz are averaging 14 a game, and they gave up 21 tonight.
Grizzlies did not turn it over a lot, so the Grizzlies ended up taking 102 shots tonight. You do not see the 100-shot threshold broken very often. They play with a pretty good pace as well because they don't want to get in the half court. To the Jazz credit, and Walker Kessler's a large part of this tonight, the Jazz half-court defense was really good, and the Jazz half-court defense has not always been really good. It comes in ranked 25th in the NBA tonight, but they were pretty good in the half court. I believe, I don't see the final number. I could probably pull it up for you here in a second. On the Grizzlies half court, numbers were not particularly good today in this game, which I think is a tribute to the Jazz, but it's also Walker Kessler had a mammoth impact in this game defensively.
He really did, and you get to the point where you think guys are just challenging him, thinking, okay, we're so used to shooting over the top of guys, even when they're 7-footers, but he is so long. I'm not sure of his wingspan, but at 7'1", and then if you got a 7'4" wingspan, he doesn't. You don't fake him out. I think you go through him a lot of times when he picks up his fouls, but because you don't fake him out, because he doesn't have to jump as high, sometimes to block shots because he's just that long and tall.
He's got a great instinct for it. I mean, we've talked to Will about it. Will talks about the fact that Will Hardy, Jazz head coach, that he just has an incredible instinct to blocking shots and handling block shots.
Yeah, it just, and if you listen to him, he has coming out of college, he had a technique. Listening to him, and when he first arrived in Utah, and we had the media player meetings, and he talked about that, about ways to block shots, left hand, right hand, when to do it, and all that kind of stuff. So it's amazing.
One of the bummers tonight was late in the game. The Jazz were rallying back. Kelly Olynyk drove the left side. We were down 6 at the time. Looked like he had an open lane for a layup. He twists his ankle, goes down, turns it over the other side. Grizzlies score either 2 or 3, kind of ended the game. But more importantly, Kelly Olynyk had really struggled since coming back from that ankle injury. In the last 6 games since the ankle injury, he was shooting 28% from field, 22% from 3. Tonight, Kelly Olynyk hit his first 3, then played with a lot of zest for the whole night, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. But that did not look great. He did have 5 turnovers, one of them being that final play. That did not look great, and makes you believe he could be, particularly if it's the same ankle, that he could be out for a little while here, and he is a really vital piece to this team.
He really is. He does a lot of. I think he's probably the most physical player the Jazz have out there on the team, and it's evident. He does pick up fouls because he's being physical. But I think what's great about that is that now he stretches the floor there shooting a 3-point shot. In a lot of the coaching meetings, they talk about Kelly Olynyk like as though they're surprised that he can shoot the 3, but he's having a great year shooting the 3-point shot.
Felt as though Will was trying to monitor minutes a little bit. Third game in 4 nights. Markkanen plays 29 tonight. Nobody went over 30. This team did play in Houston, then fly to Chicago and play a quick turnaround tonight. That Chicago game was a pretty physical ball game with a lot of energy and zest to it. So it did feel as though the Jazz were kind of trying to monitor minutes a little bit tonight. And in turn, I just never felt as though this is really interesting to me because this might be a tribute to how good the Jazz really are offensively. They shot 51% tonight. They shoot 31% from 3, and maybe it's because of the turnovers, but I never felt like they got an offensive rhythm, or at different times throughout the season we've seen Jazz players kind of get hot, and that didn't ever feel like that happened. I don't really have a feel like, these guys played well offensively or anything like that tonight. There doesn't seem to me to be kind of that texture to the offensive night for the Jazz tonight.
Well, boy, that's interesting, because of that type of effort that they put on out there on the floor. Sometimes you're talking about they just didn't have that spurt,
or even feel like they were in a rhythm, and maybe that's why Memphis is number. But my point is a little bit like they didn't feel that way. Maybe that's what Memphis does to you. Memphis is the number 1 defense in the NBA, holding teams to a 109. Jazz had about a 113 offensive rating tonight, 4 points above what Memphis average. That, to me, this might validate the Jazz 3rd best offensive rating more than any other night all year long. That they didn't seem great. They didn't shoot the 3 unbelievably. They're going against one of the best defenses, the best defense in the NBA, and they still had a fairly solid offensive night. To me, I think I mean it more as kind of a statement to like, wow, this how is this team just showed what they're able to do offensively without really anybody having a monster evening.
Yeah, I agree with that. 51%, and you still get 118 points and shoot a great percentage from the field, free throw line. You get up 88 shots, and I think the Jazz are averaging somewhere about 84, 85 shots a night. Well, that'll keep you in the ball game there as well. Dave.
Clarkson got ejected in this one. He ends up 6 of 12, 2 of 5 from 3. He took a swipe at Desmond Bane, flagrant 2, got ejected. We'll see if there's anything else he did. Bow up again, which is probably something he needs to lose if he wants to not lose money.
I can see Desmond Bane getting upset, very upset, because he was really hitting the head pretty hard. But you could see that Desmond Bane was going for the shot. The ball was here. Then he brings it down, and while he's bringing it down, Clarkson's swinging at the basketball, which wasn't there anymore, and he catches him right across the head. I think I'd have been upset there as well.
Jaren Jackson was the first one to go to Jordan. Jordan met him, and Jordan was ejected for the foul as much as anything. All right, 2 stars tonight, Ron Boone.
Well, I think you got to go with Kessler, that's for sure. Just love the way he's been playing here as of late, blocking shots. And he had 11 rebounds tonight, 23 minutes. And I was looking at this earlier, and I just thought, okay, maybe only 1 tonight.
I'm going Kelly Olynyk as my 2nd star tonight. He got it back rolling after his struggle. I was considering Rudy Gay as double clutch, fly high dunk back from his Grizzly vintage age at 22 years old. was the highlight of the night. But I'll go Kelly Olynyk as my second star. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. Hopefully that ankle injury is not bad.
Not bad. Yeah, Kelly Olynyk would be it. Yeah.
As he finally got his rhythm back coming off the injury. All right, that wraps us up for Postcast tonight. We'll be back home Tuesday, celebrate the return of Donovan Mitchell as the Jazz get ready to play the Cavaliers, see if they can get a surprise win against one of the top Eastern Conference teams in the NBA on Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in to Postcast. Ryan Smith will be joining me on Locked on Jazz